Growing up, I grew up in a pretty stable home, but some of my very first memories when I was in like kindergarten age, I can remember doing things with dolls and things that were not things that normal kindergartners would do. I remember it vividly and feeling shame because I knew what I was doing wasn't something I was supposed to be doing. And then in high school, things changed a little bit and I grew up and kids started to notice me, but not for the reasons that they were noticing me when I was in middle school. Boys started to like me. The very kids that were making fun of me at the bus stop now wanted to be my friends. In my sophomore year of high school, some girls from school invited me to go to a party with them. So I went to the party with my friends, and when I was there, one of the most popular boys in the school raped me. And afterwards, I told my best friend, and he said, "Why would he have done that to you? He could have had sex with anybody." And I then told my youth pastor, and she looked me square in the face and said, "See, if you'd never gone to that party, that would have never happened." And so I made a decision in my mind that I didn't really like church and I really didn't want to follow God, and I was going to hell anyway. And so I took a pretty drastic change in my behaviors. And I started becoming more promiscuous, and at 15 found myself pregnant. When my boyfriend's mom found out, she said, "Well, we're going to go have an abortion." And so she drove me to an abortion clinic. Pulled up outside, handed me a wad of money, and said, "I'll be back in a couple hours to pick you up." And so I went in alone at 15 and had my first abortion. And that day changed my life. It changed everything for me because there was a part of me that died when I did that. I was treated like a cow going to slaughter. It's not a human compassion kind of thing. It wasn't treated like we're doing this to help you. It was, you've signed up for this, you've given us your money, sit down, do what we've got to do, and be quiet. So I left there feeling dead inside and began doing drugs and began drinking. And then my senior year of high school, I got pregnant again and had another abortion. Same experience, only worse because this time I was much further along when I had my abortion. So I had a second trimester abortion. And so that was physically was a much more intense experience. But at that point I was doing drugs and drinking, and in my mind I was already killing the baby, and so it wasn't even really an option. I was looking for a job and saw in the classifieds that there was a women's center that was hiring, and became a receptionist at the clinic that I first went to for my very first abortion. And the interesting thing about working in that clinic is getting the perspective from the other side of the glass. As somebody who works there, we edited magazines. When a magazine would come in, we would look through the magazine, and any pictures of babies or diapers or kids or anything that might trigger someone to say, "I'd like to have this baby," we would cut out. So I was there for not very long because I was still drinking and was still doing drugs, and it's hard to keep a steady job when you're doing those things. I found out that I was pregnant. My boyfriend left, and then he calls me and says, "Look, I want you to come, but if you come and you're pregnant, I'm gonna leave you where you are. So you need to get an abortion." I was in a place where it was like, I love him, he doesn't want me to have this kid. So I had another abortion. The boyfriend and I had a very violent relationship and realized that this just wasn't working. I remember him sitting on top of me, straddling me with a broken 2x4 from the door frame in his hand, and he was about to hit me over the head with it. And for some reason, like literally mid-swing, he drops the board and he punches me in the face, breaks my nose, blackens my eyes, and there was blood everywhere. And as he's doing that, he looks and realizes, oh my goodness, I've really hurt her. And so he stops the fight. And we, kind of broke up the fight and went our separate ways that evening. And then the next morning, I wake up and my phone has like 10 text messages and phone calls from my dad. And my dad meets me at my boyfriend's parents' house to pick me and the U-Haul up. And when I get out of the vehicle, he sees me, and I have 2 black eyes, my nose is crooked, and he starts bawling and grabs me, puts me in the car, and is still just crying. And he looks at me and he says, Kelly, 2 nights ago, I was sleeping and the Lord woke me up and I had a vision of you laying dead on the floor with your head split wide open. And I began to pray. And I realized that at the moment when my boyfriend dropped the board, it was because of my dad's prayers. And I finally go back to church and I'm sitting in the front pew of my dad's church and I hear the Lord say, have you had enough? And I'm like, but God, you don't know what I've done. Like, how could you, what am I going to do now? Like, how can I be a Christian? How can I do these things when the past that I have and the things that I've done? I've been a drug dealer. I've been raped several times. I've had numerous abortions. I've worked in an abortion clinic. I've been as low as you could possibly go. And I heard the Lord say, have you had enough?